And so that's the challenge for Warren and the boys. How quickly can they gel as a team and sing off the same page? So, and when I think about that Lions training week, I think it's probably going to strip it back to basics. There'll be nothing too complex in the way they play that game up at Murrayfield. But yeah, it's going to be a hell of a game.
Exciting times. Well, not to forget about the summer tours. So obviously Ireland announced their 37-man squad for their summer tour yesterday. And sadly, there was no place for Johnny Sexton. Zebes, were you shocked to see him kind of miss out on selection again?
Not too much. I think it's a good. I agree with the reasoning. In terms of blooding in a few young players. Johnny's obviously world class, and Ireland, the coaching team, know exactly what they're going to get from him. He's the captain. He's previous World Player of the Year. Everybody knows how good he is. So it's a great opportunity to give some younger guys some experience and let them know what international rugby is about, because it's a really big step up from Pro 14 and Champions Cup. So obviously Johnny is an incredibly competitive person, so he will probably have not been too pleased, but I'm sure he'll understand the reasoning behind it. And the same goes for Keith Earls as well. That
was really disappointing to see Keith miss out as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, but again, another world-class player who's, proven his worth over the years. So not that he wouldn't need to prove anything. It's just that it's a good opportunity, I suppose, for younger back threes and younger tens to get in the mix, and an opportunity to earn their first couple of caps.
And what about you, Zeebs? Were you chatting to Andy Farrell?
No. I wasn't, not with regards to the tour. I wouldn't deserve to go on it either, because there's people playing in Ireland and, vying for spots at the moment. I'm over here in France, so I wouldn't expect to play, or I probably wouldn't deserve to. I wouldn't. The same way I was kind of the belief that while I was in Ireland before I left, I thought I should have been playing, and now that I'm not here, I wouldn't believe that I deserve to either. So,
is the World Cup a goal of yours in 2 years?
Yeah, big time. Why not? I'm obviously behind the eight ball a good bit, having been abroad and not have the opportunity over the past couple of seasons to play for Ireland or in Munster. So there's some challenges obviously ahead, but I'm very competitive and I want to play at the highest level. And
I disagree with you there. I'd flip that on its head and go, right, what have you learned from abroad that you can bring the Ireland side? Mm-hmm. So as much as I think, you can look at that with two different lenses, and obviously you're going to look at it that way. I think anyone a bit reasonable will probably go, hang on a minute, what can you bring back to Munster? Can you bring back to Ireland from your time in probably the most competitive league in one of the best club sides in Europe? So How old are you, Zeebs?
I'm 31.
There you are, mate. 33, peak 2023, mate. You played in France. Happy days. But if we go back to Johnny, Keith Earls, now is the perfect time to take a look at younger players. I know Wales have selected quite a few uncapped players, younger players as well, for the summer tour. It's no good playing Johnny Sexton for the next year and a half. Great. Touchwood, doesn't get injured, whatever. But if he then gets injured a few months out from the World Cup, what depth have you got behind him? They need to make sure they have 2-3 quality players in each position, and they're obviously positions where they're looking at and going, right, there's not actually that much depth or experience at the top level. So Carberry now gets his shot, probably. I think Ross Byrne is here the 10, am I right?
Yeah.
And Billy Burns picked?
No, it's Harry Byrne, isn't it? I think.
Oh, sorry,
no,
Harry
Billy
Burns.
Burns. Billy Burns is on the squad as well. I was delighted to see his name now, but Harry Byrne is on it as well.
Sorry, Harry Byrne, yeah. So it's one of those. And then obviously, kind of young back three players, Lama, Keenan, these guys are guys who can now put their hands up and hopefully establish themselves as starting players. So it's positive for Ireland. And as much as Johnny and Keith will be gutted to miss out, they get it. They know what's about. They were once those younger players who were given their chance. So, it comes full circle for sure.
Jamie, I think we've spoken about him before, but what about John Cooney? He missed out in selection. How were you shocked to see that, or
Well, rumour has it he's injured. I'm a massive fan of his. I think he's a top player, and so it wouldn't surprise me come the World Cup. He's in the mix for the 9 jersey, but yeah, I'm not quite sure why he's not been involved. Is he injured? Is it form? I couldn't answer that one. But yeah, big fan of his. I think he's a quality operator.
Yeah.
And Jamie, just on Sexton, so can you tell us what happened between Hibbard and Johnny on the Lions tour? And was that the worst scrap that you'd experienced on your
it wasn't a scrap. Luckily, it didn't make it to a scrap.
It would have been it would have been very.
It didn't make it to a scrap. Oh, mate, most definitely. I can't imagine Johnny's the best street fighter, is it?
No, I would have been.
Seems, were you in Noosa?
I would have been jumping on. I swear I would have. Go on, you length.
Slight little elbows. Were you in Noosa? You would have been in Noosa. Yeah. So I just remember it, test week. I mean, I'd love Hibbs to tell this story because he loves it as well. But I don't think Hibbs had ever experienced a player speaking to him and training like Johnny did. Look, Johnny's a competitive bloke, but it felt quite personal towards him. I think Hibbs messed up one of the plays, and we're talking about training 3 days before a deciding Lions test match now, so it's quite important, the session. And yeah, Johnny spoke to him in a way like the evils Hibbs gave Johnny. It's hard to put into words. And fair play to Hibbs, he did his utmost just to kind of grit his teeth and hold his nerve. But if he had his time again, I think he'd probably lose it. But it was such a funny moment because all the other lads were just like, wow. Yeah. Like it was one of the, it was awesome.
Brilliant. That's guys. I actually missed that training session because we didn't have to train for the last 2 weeks.
You were hungover, mate. Desperately hungover.
Shaking in my bed, yeah. Oh,
yeah, exactly. But we won the test match. So, I know, I've played with Johnny. I've played with him at Racing. I know what he's like. He's spoken to me on many occasions like that as well. But if that's what brings out the best in those around it, and if that's how we feel he wants to win, he's a winner, isn't he? He's won quite a bit in his career, so it obviously works. But yeah, we all have our own little different ways of pushing people's buttons, don't we? Yeah, sometimes with a player like Johnny, he tells you, and he'll tell you straight. And some players can deal with that well. I tended to laugh. I accepted it sometimes. I just chuckle and double breath. But some players took it a bit differently, and but yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that in your players who are in those positions on the pitch. I think sometimes it's quite important, and to have dominant characters like that and people who back themselves and are happy to go at other players if their standards don't match theirs. I think it's quite important in a team.
Yeah. Would he have ever apologized for losing the head, or is it very much just that's just who he is?
I don't think he'd ever get an apology from Johnny.
Never.
But he'd buy me a beer. He'd buy me food.
Yeah.
As an act of apology. But he'll be nice to you and he'll smile at you.
Yeah. But I love that about him. I love the way he even though it's not everybody's cup of tea, he's being himself. He's not, shirking away from anything. He's expressing himself and what he's feeling, and he is a competitor. He's an unbelievable winner. So, yeah, power to him. It wouldn't be my cup of tea either. But I have huge amount of respect for him and how good he is and what drives him.